Men of Reddit, what was the most ridiculous reason why someone questioned your masculinity? At work I gave a guy a report and it had a pink paperclip on it. He asked me why I gave him a pink paperclip. I told him I just grabbed one. He then asked why I had a pink paperclip. I told him I had a rainbow pack. Then he wanted to know why. When I saw it was pink, I didn't throw it away. He told me I shouldn't use pink paperclips, people might have questions. So anyway, I spread that story to basically everyone at work and then everyone wanted some of my pink paperclips to use when they gave him stuff. About 30 years ago, they came out with neon string lines. Being dressed for cold weather. Apparently wearing a men's jacket is not manly. My apartment was clean. Edit. I've had both women I just started dating and male acquaintances who have thought my clean apartment was an indication I was gay. Nasty apps are not sexy. When I was pregnant with a girl, someone said to me, in front of my husband, a real man would have given you a boy. Edit for spelling. Someone should have said that to Henry VIII. My grandmother was worried I might be gay because I'm thin. Phew. I'm definitely not gay. My eyelashes were too long. So dumb. I find most men have really luscious eyelashes. I'm constantly jealous. Got accused of being gay for being nice to people in the dive bar I go to. I guess it's not masculine to be nice to people. Had a friend give another friend shoot because he wanted to eat a corn dog. He said grown-ass men don't eat corn dogs. Any man should understand. 2 days later he was mad, ranting and raving at me because I gave everyone else hot dogs and he didn't get one. I just figured he was on his grown man shoot. My dad got shoot from a guy he was working with because he was eating a plain bagel with butter on it and drinking chocolate milk because the guy said it's childish. Dad never cared and just laughed at the guy for being an idiot. Who wouldn't like that combo? It's a great thing to eat. My husband bought some of our homegrown raspberries into work to share and a guy he works with said they were girl food. It must be so exhausting to have to gender your food. Why don't you take those girly raspberries, dip them in chocolate, and sensually rub them around my lips? You queer. Somebody once told me I wasn't applying deodorant manly enough. How do you apply deodorant in a manly manner? Wearing safety glass, using a grinder to cut steel. It always amazes me that there are still knuckleheads who think safety is uncool. Safety never takes a holiday. Paul Blart, greatest mall cop of all time. I forgot to put on goggles one time while I was making a rocket, but I wear glasses. Went to a Mexican restaurant and we waited at the bar before we could get a table. This place has awesome strawberry blended margaritas, so I got one. Apparently lime equals straight, strawberry equals gay. Ah yes, the two sexual orientations. Lime and strawberry. Edit. In the name of everything holy. Stop awarding this comment. It is by far one of my dumbest comments on this site. Driving around downtown after the club's let out with two friends in the car. I stop at a red light and a car pulls up next to us. A clearly wasted girl gets out of the backseat of the car next to us and gets in the backseat of my car while her also drunk friends are calling her name and asking her what she's doing. The moment she gets in my car, one of my friends was like go, and the other was like yeah, go, hop on 93. I'm thinking WTF, no, and just wait while her friends drunkenly get her out my car while apologizing. The next minute or so is spent with the first friend complaining about how much of a pussy I am for not driving off. We're not friends anymore. Only real manly men kidnap randos. My aunt questioned if my husband was actually straight because he can sing well. I used to get asked that a lot as well. I have long hair and can sing in falsetto, so of course there's absolutely no way I could be straight. I had a girlfriend back in high school who was particularly accident prone. Nothing major, just stubbing her toe, hitting her elbow on a door frame. The usual stuff. I would always ask if she was okay after making an audible ow just to make sure she was alright. My stepfather pulled me aside one day and told me to stop asking if she's alright all the time. That shall see it as me being too sensitive and unmanly. I just stopped saying it while he was within earshot to avoid being chewed out about it again. Fellas, oh, you name it. Didn't feel like having sex one night. Girlfriend got worried that I might be gay. Wore my backpack on both straps one day. Gay. Pulled my socks up too high. Gay. Mentioned that I liked watching house flip shows back in the early 2000s. Friend told me that was a little questionable. I have heard all of this from male friends in the past. About what they've been accused of being unmasculine for. for wearing gloves while welding. I was taking a break from driving a forklift and a woman asked if she could drive it. She was qualified to drive it, so this wasn't just a random question from a random person. I agreed, and this one guy got so offended that I let a woman take over driving the forklift from me. This was back when mancard was a thing, so he of course said I needed to turn in my mancard for that. And surprisingly, it turns out this guy got offended at all kinds of things all the time though. If he thought someone wasn't doing something the right way, he would rant and whine about it. I was reading a book on my lunch break while I was working construction, and got a bunch of shit about reading being for women, which is easily one of the top 15 of the stupidest things I've heard said out loud. Went from women not being allowed to read to reading being only for women. What a world. I do Roman age reenactment. One of my friends, who is also a devout Christian, had this girl in his friend group who didn't understand the hobby. Yes, she put that in quotes, because Roman tunics looked feminine. I prefer a real man wearing trousers. Okay. Yet she didn't seem to realize that her faith was all about someone who lived on earth during Roman age and didn't wear trousers. Some family friends of ours are hardcore fundamentalist Christians and the women aren't allowed to wear pants. In high school I was told I was gay and feminine for not sagging my pants. Not presenting your butt 24/7 to other men is gay. Said online that I like soup. It's one of my favorite things in life. Then some guy replied, assuming I must have been brought up on soup, which in turn meant I didn't eat much hard foods growing up and probably given me an unmasculine jaw. Not quite questioning my masculinity, but from behind and even to the side. Sometimes I get called ma'am cause I have long, mildly curly, blonde hair. Then I turn around with my big ass beard and put on a deeper voice than I usually talk. The reactions vary, but they are pretty funny sometimes. Especially when I ignore them at first till they start saying ma'am louder and more aggressively as they get annoyed. Only to backpedal when I turn around. I'm a guy. I dress well, take care of my hygiene, and put some effort into how I present myself. In particular, this was so ridiculous because the person who commented on it being unmanly was also aware that I spent over a decade in the army. I have been in lots of situations where I was forced to go days or weeks without showers, wore the same suit day in and day out, and had strict grooming standards that did not allow for self-expression. Do you know what they call a guy who pays that much attention to his clothes? MHMM. A grown-up. Wearing sunscreen has frequently led to other guys giving me shoot. I guess I'm a pussy for not wanting shooty skin and or cancer. I forget if it was Reddit or somewhere on Twitter, but I use this line all the time. You think you're tougher than the sun? I like scented candles, but because they smell good. My narcissistic father-in-law said I was less of a man because my wife and I married on paper 5 years before the wedding and didn't tell him. He found out months before the wedding. My wife has an autoimmune disorder which requires a medication that was costing her $500 a month on her crap health insurance, but it is free with my work. It was a no-brainer, but we didn't want to publicize so as not to undermine the importance of our big day. Yes, I had already had his blessing, and yes, we were already engaged. Edit. Getting a lot of shoot for saying had his blessing. For context, he and I used to be super close. We would golf, drink beer, and shoot guns together. He knew of my intentions to marry his daughter and was at that point ecstatic for that moment. That's all I meant. His blessing was not something that was a prerequisite. In fact, days before the wedding he voiced his disapproval. Now I bang his daughter on the reg. I don't know if this technically counts, because gay equals unmasculine, but had a college chemistry class where my lab partner asked me if I was gay because I know the difference between pink and fuchsia when the lab instructions called to wait for the reaction to turn pink. The distinction caused us to have better results than other groups. Fellas, is it gay to know your colors? I have zero issues with saying I think a certain man is good looking, and I've got some disgusted looks for it. I mean, it's not like you said you wanna bang him. Even if you did. My favorite one ever was when a kid in school with me made a joke about the fact I sat with my legs crossed while in a chair, like a woman. What I didn't expect is some other guy he was friends with to turn around and say, yeah, but that's how loads rich and powerful people sit. Maybe he has a point, I just thought it was comfy. But that's forever going to be my argument if someone says it again. Taking my very small dog for a walk. Go figure. It was because I could braid style my daughter's hair. I was amazed by the stir it caused with the other parents, but mostly the dads. I sadly believe that being a pretty distant dad with your daughter's daily lives is still considered pretty normal. An ex said I wasn't manly because I ate the octopus dish she made for me too slow lol. Were you slurping the tentacle in and out of your mouth? My husband was asked how he could feel like man while walking our miniature poodle. The guy who said that was the assistant principal at the elementary school. For not absolutely worshipping bacon like a god. I didn't want flappy, shooty bacon on my burger one time and immediately got asked for my man card. I was raped by a man and it was questioned by a gender study professor. Not a female one, but still. Guy was a toxic snake. How on earth do you end up in gender studies with that kind of attitude? Because I said I liked quiche, one of my sister's friends. I met him at a bar, and he apparently was certain I was gay for multiple stupid reasons. I don't like sports. I wasn't a Trump supporter, and I drank mixed drinks. Because of all of this, he was certain I was gay, as if the test for being straight is drinking beer and being racist. I went on to live a happy life. He went to prison for impregnating a 15-year-old.